Hi guys. Due to the overwhelming response to my first video, I decided that I would do a second one.
Or it could just be I'm lazy. No, I'm working on that finale. It's being worked on.
Anyway, I thought it would be a good idea to talk about something that I've actually noticed a lot in my practice recently, and that has to do with the shoulders. The shoulders are a very important part to everything in the Wing Chun process. Just to kind of simplify it, it's the main connection from your hands to your body. And there's a few things that I want you to look at while you practice and become aware of, because these can actually impact your Wing Chun in great ways. They can either keep you sucking or they can make you improve a great deal. So the three things that I want to talk about are keeping your shoulders square, keeping them level, and then also keeping them balanced. So the first concept of keeping your shoulders square, let's look at the punch. In the punch, the main development of the punch is to learn how to stretch that shoulder out. All right, there's a lot of other things that can go into that, but that's the main purpose of it. And if your shoulders aren't square, what's going to end up happening is you're going to overstretch, and you're not going to have that base of support from your body. For instance, if Sifu Ed is doing the straight punch and he overstretches, okay, meaning that he's kind of leaning out for the punch, well, this other side is uneven. So you're affecting balance, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, but you're not going to actually develop that stretch. You're overstretching it, all right? So you got to make sure that you keep your body square as you practice that punch, all right? That takes control. One thing that you got to look at is when you're working on that punch and you don't maintain that body squareness, well, you're throwing everything off. You're throwing your body, your center of gravity off, and that's not really going to help anything. You punch, overstretch, and you're actually going to start leaning forward onto the balls of your feet. So that's an important aspect of making sure that you keep the shoulders square. The second concept is keeping your shoulders, keeping them level, all right? I think you can probably go onto YouTube, pick any video of somebody doing Slim Tao, and what you'll see a lot is people lean, okay? So one shoulder is raised and the other one is low, okay? That's what I'm talking about, not having a level shoulder when you're practicing that. For instance, in the punch, if we go back to that, if you practice the punch and your shoulder rises, well, one thing that happens is you lose that connection from the arms to the body, because that shoulder joint is the main part that connects the two. And if you do that, for instance, if I try to punch and Sifu Ed's holding his hands out, and I punch, raise the shoulder, and he puts some force on it, well, it rocks my center back. All right. Another way that you can look at it is, let's take Bong Sao for instance. If I'm in Bong Sao and my shoulder's up high and he puts some force on it, well, one thing that can happen is, again, I'm using a lot of muscle to maintain this structure right here. My center gets rocked, or what could also happen is if he puts force on there, my structure collapses. Okay, so you want to make sure that when you practice, especially in Slim Tao, because that's where you can actually look at it the most, is keep the shoulders level. All right, you don't want to sink one side and raise the other, but you want to actually keep them level at the same height. The third concept, which is a little bit more difficult, and that's something that I'm really struggling with a lot right now, is keeping the shoulders balanced. What I mean by that is that you have to create the right amount of tension. Everything in Wing Chun, the punch, the stance, working on individual drills, hand techniques, shifting, footwork, anything that you can think of requires the least amount of tension. Just enough muscle to hold that technique, hold that position, and let the body absorb all that force. When you're not balanced, what happens is you start to muscle. And if I'm rolling with Sifu Ed, what happens is I become one-sided. So we're rolling, but I put more emphasis on the inside gate, which is my tan bong hand. Well, if he comes in for an attack or puts in any force, easily gets right through, all right? But then if I have balance in both hands and the body is supporting, what ends up happening is that I can react to that attack, react to that force right away, all right? A lot of these concepts are very surface level. Obviously they can go much deeper than that, but ultimately what I found is that it affects my own chisao, and if you're having problems with the shoulders in terms of square, level, balance, you're gonna see those too. One thing is, with level, say you're working on just the tan bong motion, right? If you have somebody that you're working with in chisao and they're applying force and they're using a lot of muscle, your shoulders are gonna burn like hell. If you wanna work out your shoulders, go to the gym, all right? But Wing Chun is not the place where you wanna start working out those muscles and getting ripped. He'll see that on the video. Anyway, one final thing that I want to say, and this is actually in regards to the chisao aspect, is if those three things are off, shoulders not square, shoulders not level, shoulders not balanced, you're going to lose things like target point, which is something that I find happens to me. If my shoulders aren't square, and with each motion, for instance, I'm dominant right hand, so I might actually put a little bit more emphasis on my right hand, the tan bong. Well, if I put more emphasis on it and my shoulders aren't square, I lean off and I'm actually off center, I'm offline. And if you just saw that, he was able to hit me because that opens up. It opens up that line for him to come in and palm strike. Keep my shoulders square, then I've neutralized that point, all right, that target area right there. If the shoulders aren't level and I'm rising up, again, we've talked about issues with structure collapsing either in the hand triangle or the whole body structure getting rocked off. And then balance as well. All right, if I don't have that balance, what happens is I might muscle one side and my hand starts seeking out. For instance, let's look at the right hand, tan bong. If I'm putting more emphasis here, he comes in and attack. Well, what happens? I lean forward because I'm seeking out that pressure. I'm seeking out that contact, and it's easy for him to take that over. Okay. So again, remember those three concepts. Be aware of those when you're practicing, and hopefully, I guess we'll have to see with me in a few months, but hopefully your Wing Chun will get a lot better. Thanks for your time. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you guys next time.